Stream settings, high line setting, high interference, specification program locations. It's all levels of channel operation location settings. It's all levels of tether. What is a tether line position? Electrical light conditions. Let's say you got a cloud channel operation streamline center interference. Position location of circuit board. There's a circuit board location calculation. Tether line system. You're looking up, right? So what's going on in calculation setting? It sets position location of its perimeter, set line interference location and ground setting to the operation system position of its solar panel generation light stream into the atmosphere location to your magnetic highway information line setting. So all information location is in the ground line setting, okay, to the clouds. Now the cloud line center location is digital frame location is calculated on the circuit board that sets its signal location, position, or directions. Now in position line setting, it has teleportation light streams, right? So in that line setting rotation, you have a magnetic line setting of a vibration location that is a channel operation streamline. It's a magnetic highway information setting. That's position locations. All above line setting, it all calculated to the server. Server sets line position locations. So it's graph. There's place in compartment setting rotation, center, and position of its direction in laser direct line setting. Once you see the grid patterns, then you understand what I'm talking about through circuit line settings. Placebo cortex, stream setting, high lines, high interference, high specification calculation, stream locations. All right. The channel operates streamline setting is to understand how to set location acceleration line setting. Anything above line setting of 70, 80, 90, 100,000 line position location calculations, you're off and running into translucent pattern, which changes the ultralight communication to your eye receptor locations. Right? Seeing things through all levels of communication beyond line setting is a vibration stream. And once that vibration stream understands your course line setting, it opens all communications to your mainframes. Okay? So time is the existence in all line setting. Okay? It opens all panels of communication, rotation, setting, interference. The position location all levels of the channel operation stream locations. So the cloud line center sets a membrane setting location, the skies graph, high center interference location, the schematics, it sets communication setting. So it's all in your position location and directions. Okay? So it's connecting line setting location to its hangars, to its Stargate locations, to its teleport setting location. UFO comes in and out line center rotations, every single light conditions. Extremely busy in night line settings. Now that line center rotation interference has an exit. Cloud line center line position locations left and cloud line center location positions right. This is a cloud line center rotations. It has a teleportation streamline setting. So a vortex and communication system in line center location every 1,000-yard line settings per second per channel per operation. Now that opens all channel operation streamline conditions in its direct line setting. Okay. Circuit board interference line conditions all levels. Okay. If you get into Space Discoveries season 2, okay, episode 4, it talks about everything through the circuit board location to your mainframe setting. So setting communication settings in all position location directions comes into highlight interference. Now the highlight interference position opens all calculation setting. Now indirect line setting, position locations, all of the channel operation streams. Now it's all about understanding when you're traveling, know exactly what you're doing through graph line settings. So let's go through 45-degree angle locations, all channel operation streamlines. So recognizing high center interference is all levels of you through geometry location, how you change your position location directions. When you look outside line setting, the clouds move. But if the clouds are moving, you're moving. You understand? That's all it is. So you have to learn how to set locations. The game line center location is I'm standing in front, but the background's moving. No. In position locations, when you wake up in line setting, the high rise, high acceleration line setting changes position to its gravitational pull. Now you got echo line changes, high center interference locations, and position archetypes. Archetypes sets communication to circle line center to its position locations high setting. That sets up a Fibonacci sequence and swirl line setting, opens all communication to its ground line of its operation location. This channels its calculation setting. So in position location directions, when you're looking outside line setting, you are moving with the clouds from the back and the front. You're moving in synchronous location in the same timeline and the same line center rotations all at once in calculations. One frame, one division, one clocking, one calculation, right? Okay, so in that position of direction, we are going to go through the second line setting. Okay, get you guys in formation locations into black holes, but the program setting has to be set in a certain line setting. So you have to understand the sky grid line setting and grid line setting locations. You got graph locations in position. That's the graph line setting. You color it in position line setting, all the locations, right? Now, in position locations, you come into line center rotation. Now, this is all location of circuit location of grids. Set communication settings, allocate timelines, highlight center interference, and direct locations. This is what it's in position location to its cloud setting. Allocate timelines and highline center rotation interference and position location to calculations. Truly understand how to set things up is truly understand the communication of what it is through all division line setting. This is what's in a cloud setting, inter rotation interference through its calculation system. That's what's in the cloud. So the cloud is actually a circuit board. All right. Now the set line center, high line center, and interference location is all levels of set locations. It's all position location nodes directions. Setting calculation settings sets all line center interference. So you get in communication setting. So it's all about understanding location. All right, set locations here. Your set line settings. This is you. Okay. On the ground setting, right? So in the position locations, you are looking at position of direction. Right? Scan position location of center, changes center communications, right? Sets line positions, UFO comes in line rotation, right? Comes in line setting right here in position locations, right through center line, okay? So truly understand how to set line connections on walls of its cloud line centers, understand the circuit board location to its membrane. The membrane comes into the placebo cortex location of thought line centers that sets location of higher levels of certain locations. This is extremely high rise calculation. The position line direction locations comes in two wave and cycles. You got two line centers, XT line center interference. One position location of track line setting comes in position location of calculations inside position. Two line settings, high center interference locations. Cloud changes the translucent line setting to a new position location of directions. It opens another line interference that changes its position location of coloration. Hooah. Expands the line sync. Okay, the sync line center, systematic locations, Y line center, XY line center, interference location of flux capacitor, changes the geographic location of its map line signal, changes the position location to all levels calculation high center to UFO position location directions, sets up a new circuit board in position location to its membrane that sets a new cerebral cortex line center into visual location calculations. Hoo-ah. Now you understand the calculation position locations and why we have set line settings. All right, so get you applied to division line center rotations. You're going to apply it to inside line. Okay. So inline center interference, circuit board, set locations, and position. Now we're going to send our calculations in three triangle force. Now force line center is going to set position locations. You get a triangulation line set. Get into opposite location of PC. Set location is CPU. Set calculations to all levels. Center communication setting, position location points, dot line center into D. Line setting into C in position of P. Line position location calculations, set course line channel. You're in the center operation location of a cloud line setting. Have fun. 20 minutes in the dot line setting interference. All right. Calculation, streamline, position location, and calculation. All right. So let's go and set calculation stream settings of seconds and position location of minutes to hour line setting. Get in position location, direct line setting rotations. Madeline, how you doing? All position locations. Yep, it's all calculation maps. All right. Madeline, pre-flight line center, Lindsay calculations, Pam calculations, all levels. PC line center rotations, all levels. Sam position, Merlin line center, Airbender location, Geneva and Bell. Calculation line CC, position location of Gina line setting. High line center position location of Danielle into all levels of Yolanda line center location of Jill position location, high center Nikki line center rotations of Heather communication line center interference. Set position location of Val communication line center interference, Russ and communication system, all of those lines setting, position location Gypsy position location of Michaela position of Tommy position of Lori position line setting, all position of Ash, high center of Danny, high position location calculation interference, inline setting, Melissa calculation setting interference, all levels of track locations. All right. So now you understand the line setting location, the cloud line settings. All right, so in that position location, it travels. See, it's up there in line center rotation. So in that position locations, it disappears in calculation. Sets a new position of new wave cycles. So in communication system, bringing it back in channel operation streamlines is all levels of calculation stream. So setting signal locations is all levels of position. All right, setting signals and high interference. Right. Disappeared line setting, but it's still there in circuit board location. It's still there, right? So if you understand the process and how things work with your line setting, then you understand the vibration location goes in so many high line division settings. This opens all communication to track locations. So you have to really understand how to use the circuit line center to own circuit board locations. It's all connected modified to your placebo, cortex, and line stream setting. The cerebral sets the line position locations to opens all channels of operation line setting. Okay. So extremely high rise in all calculation, right? All right. So now you know what it's looked like inside location of a cloud. All right. You guys are on tour line positions. All right. Intelligence there to help you out. If you understand your location, ask questions. All right. So in that line setting, let's start with seconds location setting. Breaking time frequency, time pads, time interline rotations, calculations to the system. It's true to stand all position locations, high setting. You got screen centers, digital frame setting line positions, circuit line inner rotation calculations, correlation panels, allocate timelines, escape position of panels, position location offsetting, all line centers shifting position locations, high setting to a space bar and communication rotation. You have to truly understand how to use yourself as your computer setting. Okay, it's all connected to its program, it's all connected to its unit, it's all connected to its digital format location. All right. But see, that's exactly what it is. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. 10-4 on that through confirmation setting. All right, so in that track locations, we come into this position. All right. All right, so when you go into that line setting, you go into seconds, right? You got the second location. This is how you come into the gerrytherium line setting. Now it's all connected to Merkabah, tesseract, tetrahedron. There's so many communication drop line settings and operation locations. So the seconds equals line center locations equals channel. Seconds equals channel. Now that channel comes into its operation line center to its flux capacitor communication setting. That opens all position locations, all levels, sets signal line center interference, sets position location at 2 graph line centers, in calculation into communication. The communication high rises line center locations. Now the vibration graph is line center line position location to its box. Now high line center, 0 position location changes into shapes now. Okay, you got a 0 graph line center, 3 line center circle locations, right? Circle line position location comes into a box. Circle line connection all comes into a pyramid. Circle line conditions comes into all positions 3 waving cycles and line position location directions. That's a very high rise line position. So sequence pattern is to understand how to use the line communication to letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. This opens all communication to the seconds per channel per operation per square per mile through flux capacitor. Hooah. Setting line center locations opens up a rotation spin cycle. Now, when you open that rotation spin cycle, it sets line position locations to its calculation to its black hole. Black hole sets line signals. Now that comes into dark matter. Setting communication system is all levels of travel line setting to your thought calculation settings. This opens all position location to your direct line setting interference and position location to calculation. All right. So seconds per channel per operation per square per mile sets line signal locations over factor. Over factor in line setting location is future calculations. Anything through underscore line setting is positions to its time frequency of its past reference. The true understand that you can go back in time, but you got to reset line positions, recoil, high center lines, relay, position line center, tether interference, set position calculations into the center operation of you through position. Now it's extremely high rise in all line setting. It's you trying to understand you and all levels of adaptation to the mind setting to all travel mechanisms of time. Okay, sequence of time, calculation of time, modifications time, simulation of time, singularity line center interference location of time. It's all position location, direct location setting. All right. So when you come into that position location setting, you have to truly understand how to set locations when you come in your chakra setting. Now, your chakra setting is a foundation location of 0 to high center interference locations into 30. Okay, that's a track interference that you know in position location line setting. You can't go any higher until you understand the representation to each chakra line setting that's in a correlation panel that's connected to each coloration path. Each chakra system has its own DNA set line signal that sets position to all calculations to your road graph stream settings of your data off positions of your processors. Data streams, uplinking, uploading, and downloading settings. Okay? All right. After some of mine line setting of 0. 0 calculation setting and high position location of all position line directions. So every time you see a black hole, set locations. There's a black hole, right? Black hole, line center, interference, and position of direction. That's a black hole. Your set line position locations, all levels of U. You're in position locations. This is you traveling setting. Okay? That's you traveling locations, right? That's you at the top. All right. The setting communication line center is always low scan line position. The communication of cyclone is going to set position locations in all levels in that correlation. All right. It's going to scan you, right? You know where exactly where you are at the coloration path. Your synchronized center location comes in all position locations. All black holes are set location of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 line setting. Set line communications into 1, 1 in position of 2 in security line division. You're good to go. Send a communication line cross high setting into triangulation path. That opens a line center location to your diamond core, and then you're set to go into its position of its black hole. Set communication system opens another 10 defense line center in position location to a low graph string. That opens all communication to a line setting rotation into 0 graph location. So, all right, setting line settings, seconds per channel. Now, once you understand how to use the seconds line setting, I'm just going to show you how you get in calculations, how to change geometric patterns in your communication cycle of high interference position of program locations into your time frequency, time coding, and timeline string. Now, in that position location directions, you bring position locations in seconds. It's always in line center locations into the front line. Okay, so what you're doing is bringing it forward. Your second line center is 0 to line position location 9, right? 0 to 9 line setting. So let's say you want to change 3, 6, and 9 in the locations, in position locations. Level system locations, ground line setting. Now the ground line center changes line rotations and position locations. Ground line center location of its communication, right? So 3, 6, and 9 comes in calculation of line into position location of 6, 7, and 8. Changes position location directions. So what's doing is line setting is going to 1, 2, 3 in that line setting. Lock it in frame. Square boxes location trifactor E-line center location abundance sets communication setting. That locks the 3-line setting. You do the same thing with 4, 5, 6. Once you reach 6, lock it in frame. Once you reach 9, lock it in frame, inline setting. In the high interference, you come into 3, 6, and 9 location through seconds per channel per operation, right? If you want to change the 3, 6, and 9 line setting, the same thing. You do the same thing. In that position location calculation, you change the 3-line center of 6, position locations are levels of 7, and line center locations of 8. So you have to slow down your space lines, modification cycles. Changing line stream is to understand how to position your locations of 0 to 9 line setting. Okay, so every time the avatar is going through its time frequency, through its seconds per minute, per hour, per channel, per operation, per square, through calculus high setting to over factor over pi calculation high string in line center correlation of panels, it's opening all communication system to all levels of 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Slowing down your space line. You can't stop your space. You can pause. But you can't stop. So that's what you have to figure out, how to do these line setting, rotation, interference, location, and calculation, going into linear line center, location of space and communication system, new foundation graph line center, line and rotation interference, how to take 3, 6, and 9 of its equation line center, equal line center, interference position location direction into 6, 7, 8 position location, into its triangulation location to its pyramid of its correlation line setting, and position location of directions to your target system. Ooh-ah. So it's very powerful. When you come into that, after you come in that line setting, you get out of the time frame, you come out of the locations of 2 line settings into lacing communication, right? 2 lacing line settings, equal line connections to location at levels, equals its equation line setting, okay? Sets position locations into back force line center location to its high center location of its triangle. Sets communication is communication, line center is box line setting, in position to its Fibonacci sequence. Sets communication setting. So it's very complicated if you don't understand the digital circuit line center rotations of U and formation locations to how to use your thought patterns in high interference. Rotation cycles, high position location calculation opens all channels of operation stream locations. So once you understand how to lock the sequence line setting of 0, 9 line rotation of 3, 6, and 9 to change it to 6, 7, and 8, you're in a product line setting location to its high setting, because that's what the galaxies do in all line position. They change weather communications into dimensional line setting rotation interference into dark matter calculations. Setting signal is high interference 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Set communication, right? That sets its tone line setting. Now that opens all communication. 1 becomes line center and position location. 2 sets carry line division, come into pyramid activation to your diamond core. Then you travel through line center rotation into its cloud channel operations stream in line center rotation to its black circle. Black circle rotation sets high center location to all line setting interference to your connections to your black hole. So many communication line streams. Not understand the position, location, direction is true. They understand the operation line settings of you through stream locations. So where are we through position? All right, let's see here. Thoughts are tell pure and simple. That's why it's easy to pick up someone thinking of you. Knowing you will let you know it's someone else. In that line division line setting, that's all influence. Okay, Val? That comes later in line setting. You have to really understand your connections first through all foundation line setting to all geometric patterns. So when you're in that position, 3, 6, and 9 changes to 6, 7, 8. That changes its position location to all levels of calculation. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 12 is center location. Right? So understanding the 6 patterns is communication to moon. Moon comes into graph line center in a position of 0. 0 position location of 48 channels of operation setting. Now the operation setting locations comes into 72. You're always working with 24, 48, 72, and 144 first, because you don't understand your 114 adapter line streams and line center interference in position locations of light codes, sequence patterns, and calculations through its equation times sequence times pi over calculation in line center location of space. Setting communication system is all of the channel operation stream settings, all in line conditions. 72 equals line center of 144 opens all communication to a new graph line center of 0 gravity location. Okay? So travel through that line setting, sets everything to that setting locations. All right. I see the picture. Thought of someone seeing them in the next few days. And yeah. The more you come in future line setting, Val, the more you see your positions to your sim, which is all calculated. The systematic line center of intelligence changes the line center location of its mind that sets position location of teleportation stream setting that sets a new video graph line setting and how you resonate your line positions to all calculations to its tether of its line setting to its sky grid line setting interference and position location of program location to its data box setting. Okay? All right. "44 people, channels open sequence and relay program locations, lacing communication channels, open a box." Very good. Okay. So when you're in a geometric operation setting, you come into geotherium. Now, therium line center, that's location of theta box setting. So once you come into that location, it's box, it's line position locations. You come into 6, you come into 7, you come into 8, you come into 9, you come into 12. 12 central line center comes in position location here. 6 comes down here line setting. 7 crosses stream line setting. 8 sets position location 8 and 9 line setting sets rotation cycle and downshift location. All through provision. Okay. All through box line center, but TV line center location of theta communication settings. So, try to understand what's he talking about. Is say it's all levels of view inside position. It's fantastic. You have to have fun with these things. That's if you have fun with these things, you get to truly understand what it is, because it's all levels of view. You just have to learn how to use the maps equation setting line position to all geometric location of operation of design. This gets you in a calculation modification stream setting to all circuit board locations. How to use all this in registration, setting communication all levels to its line setting, sets all communications to your target locations. Hoo-ah, of 114. So you have to understand the representations of light code line streams, because you guys are in 24,000 line signatures now. You have to understand how to break the code frequency line centers of code directing line centers, a deflect line center rotation in position location to your frames of forms. Forming communication system opens all levels of channel operations to your letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. Okay? All right, test our connections of theta, illuminated high setting, high line center rotation interference, and position locations. All right, let's see here. Diamond core, 6, 7, 8, 9 involved to quasar settings. Very good, Jill. So she changed the diamond core line setting to her position locations, all levels line setting the line interference location to a scrambler, setting communication system to all levels of quasar setting through fractions. Very good. All right. And that's the communication setting when it comes to all position, location, and directions, how you set these locations. All right. So, all right. So once you get into the quantum line setting locations or anything to quasar fractions or anything in the equation locations or anything in map sequence locations or all line setting location, but it's awareness of information location calculation, high center interference, intelligent location operation, division line setting, you have to understand how to communicate high setting rotations. All right, so we start with the bracket locations. Fibonacci swirl line setting, high center location of travel line setting, in center and communication setting, rotation interference, sets position location tone setting, high line rotation interference and calculation setting rotations, circuit board set locations, and high channel locker streamline setting sets communication in position location to its box line setting that sets all communication line rotation into its cloud line setting, in its division line setting, in its rotation setting. So this is all levels of box frame line setting, guys, all circuit locations. So it's all level position location, how you use a map sequence line setting. It's all position location and direct locations, all right? So I want you to understand that through 6, 7, and that line center 8. 6 communication, 6 equals communication, right? You're just communicating with 6. Now, once you understand the communication, it all levels the bracket line center of velocity. Velocity stays in top line, right? Velocity, volume, or anything in vast is high line. You have to put it above. So bracket line center rotation interference sets position location of videograph line string and position locations all levels to your recognition of timelines of zero gravity location. Okay? So you got tether line settings in high setting of videograph line setting in bracket location of zero graph location. That's position location into all line setting to its flux capacitor. Flux capacitor comes into the ground line rotation interference, sets position location high setting, opens up another calculation stream location to a black hole calculation. See? That's how you open a black hole. All through 6 of communication. Videograph stream settings sets line communication setting rotation interference, but you have to truly understand the vast and the volume and the velocity of what it's doing through acceleration. That's the only way you're going to understand anything through your thought channel communication setting. It's all levels of you through your computer setting. This is the operation system location, position, location, directions. You have to understand how to use the ground, the powers, the atmosphere locations. You have a magnetic highway of information that you communicate every single day line set interference. You have to learn how to use it through your data stream line setting in your chart locations of 114 light signature locations, pattern line settings. All right. So once you get into 6 line position, we automatically come into 7. 7 calculation is all levels equal line center of cosmos. Cosmos equal line condition all levels. Again, you come into velocity, you come into volume, and you come into vast. VV, right? Now, this opens up position location direct line setting, opens up communication setting interference. So the velocity in line center rotation comes into acceleration, high center line and rotation position location to Hall signals. Now that sets position location, how you see yourself in line center locations, your Merkabah, tetrahedron, octahedron, line setting, high line center rotation interference. Indirect line center to understand what you're doing through line positions to velocity, in position of volume, and position of mass. Okay? So volume is extremely powerful stuff. It's kind of like E equals MC squared. Massive calculation to timeline is set signal location into its position that sets all communication to ground line setting that opens all operation signals of 114 of correlation. Correlation panels in communication system opens all line setting. You guys are just in division. Wait till you get into sector and vector and quadrants. Whoa. When you get in a high line setting, everything comes into higher line position locations into your position of your clouds and your magnetic highway information setting and your data stream calculations and your omniviews line center rotations, your data stream location position line settings, your operation systems position location calculations, your ground formation line streams and position of panels, your correlation setting high interference of coloration panel communication settings, your allocate timeline stream interference of time locking, time streams, time interference, indirect location to all levels of channel operation through location of 7. 7 is the channel operation of everything through the cosmos. Setting communication line center rotations, you go into downshift line stream. 3 triangle line setting, 3-point locations, set communications high setting. All right. So 7 comes line center locations. In position locations, you box the center location into a line setting. Cosmic universe location of 7777. All through communication. But you got to understand the vast, the volume, and everything, location, and velocity. All right. So, all right. So once you get into 7 line setting, you come into 8. Now the 8th is line center rotations of infinity. Infinity locations, circle line setting, high line center rotations, come to opposition locations, calculations, sending communication to a molecular light structure, high center interference, and high line center rotations, solar direct locations, and solar planets. Calculation streamline center opens all communication to another black hole that sets communication setting. Black hole comes in line center, sets communication line center, in position location at 3 triangle line center rotation interference. Sets position location, all line center location to a UFO line center to a ground line center crop circle location. Ooh-ah. Setting communication setting. Very high rise and high center, high interference of 3 triangulations, 4 position line settings, high center interference, indirect locations into a digital board, set communication system, operation cycle, set line position location directions, and center communication. Done. Knowing exactly what you're doing through 6, 7, and 8 is all position locations, how you set location of your centers. This is all levels of your division location, how you set your locations to all toning division. So it's pattern, calculation, string theory, right? We come in that line center. So it's a theatrical line center of theta line setting. Everybody's all confused. That's why we got Q&A. All right, so where are we through track setting location? Okay. Just getting you guys in a basic foundation, how to understand your thought lines and how it creates location of black holes, secrets location of black holes, pattern interference, Fibonacci's, anything can create a black hole through your thought line setting. It's all provisional location, how you set location, vibration line setting interference. So it's kind of like a waving central communication setting that's a spectrum of light that's open to all communication to its galaxy setting that's open to all position, location, direction. You got weather going one way, you got weather going the other way. Galaxy surface on both line settings, but it's not just this, it's this, and then it circles. It does what it wants to do. You have to find a way to get in position to the center operation line setting, get into the DNA pattern line center rotation, and how it spins through cycle line center of interference location and interfacing. Now, it's more interesting once you understand the avatar stream location into its seconds, minutes, and its hour location. Okay? Going through a dimension line setting is to understand the adaptation to the geometry location of operation. Your direction, your division, and your time position location opens all synchronous locations to calculation. So there's a lot of things you have to understand when you're in the mind adaptation of alteration setting. All right. Box design, set to all teams. Music notes, passing ball, music, beautiful, nice. So now you understand the calculation streamlines, right? Yep, that's pretty much exactly what it is. You know, that's how you have to start see things. You know, when we came into that calculation and all this line setting, you see this off balance, but it's not, because that's all you see. You can't go beyond because it's not off balance. It's back in position. So as Trudy is saying, going way beyond recognition of timeline, you have to break the surface, time frequency, time code, streamlines, and position location your seconds. Bring your seconds forward, line setting. If you want to change position in geometric operation, you have to come into escape pattern. Now that escape pattern sets its echo line center line rotation to your alpha, delta, theta, beta, and omega communication setting. That opens all communication system to your heart reactor. The heart reactor opens all platforms in communication cycle. That reset location to the circuit board line setting that opens all communication to the cloud line setting. So there's a lot of things you have to recognize your time in frame position. How you recognize your system is extremely formative in all position, location, and directions. Okay. All right. Let's see here. I know you guys are really getting connecting now, which is amazing because you're starting to understand the connection to everything, how it forms all levels through its energy track, through its formation location of its frequency. Understanding the vibrational stream setting. or anything through all communication, energy interference, location, coloration patterns, coloration, high center interference, position over factor over pi, space-time communication, high setting. All direct location of signals. All right. So once you come into the correlation, you come into high setting. Now, once you come into high setting location, you're going to go into bracket locations. VAS comes into equal of velocity, line connections into all levels. Okay. Volume, velocity. Okay. Volume equals velocity. Okay. And when you come into that line center, it comes into levels of VAST. Now, VAST is position locations into its high setting. It comes into a vector communication setting that sets up an energy line setting that sets all position location to its communication. Set line setting. See, AI communicates on the levels of the alphabetical line setting in position and breaking down sequence patterns of communication into a volume. Okay? AST, VAST. You break it down. So velocity sets position to two graph streams of 2 0 locations, right? Now, you have to understand the set line position locations calculations. You got a graph line center of 24, ground center locations, and position location of 12, 24 line signals, right? 24,000 light signals pattern communication setting. Now, in position locations, when you come in at 0 graph line setting, this opens up the 48 window. 0, 1 track line setting, 0, 0, 1 line center rotation, 0, 0, 0 position location 72 track line settings, 144 in position location 144,000 line in position location of volume, VAS in position location of velocity. Set communications high setting, breaking down in position location alphabetical string setting. All through VAS. Okay? So 10, 11, 80, 36. Okay, everything is given to position coordinate settings. You understand the line set interference, right? Come into geometry location of channels, operation location of signals. All right, so really recognize the timelines in your time position location, how to use all channel operation stream location to its grounds. Ground line center, ground equals locations of 1, in center locations of 2, in position of 3, in position of 4, in positions of 5, in position of 6, in position location of 7. Setting communication, line setting, high line center rotation, cloud division location, circuit board location. See how that works? Set communication. See? See how it works through operation setting? All through number code sequence location of laser direct line setting. You have to have fun at what you're doing. It's the most beautiful thing. Once you stand to break these things down in your coordinates and line position, do geometric line center location of your map sequence location of patterns. This opens all communication to your pyramid settings. Getting you guys ready when it gets in the ground center locations into March communication setting. You have to learn how to use the navigation line settings to your connections to your tracker system. That's the only way you can understand locations of navigations to your geographic location. So, volumetric flow rate, V equals flow velocity, A equals cross section vector area, Q equals VA. Yeah, and that position location, C. But CC, do you understand what you're putting down in line setting? If you understand the Q line center rotation, that's great. Let's stay in that revision, like that locations. All right, volumetric setting location, equal line center locations in high setting. Okay, come into the flow communication. Sets line of velocity calculation, that's over graph setting. A cross locations, crosses over A line setting. And position locations in vector area. Vector communications comes into a box of a theta line center and a T reception locations of 3 lacing line settings. In position of quantum line setting, equal line conditions to its atmosphere line setting. That's all through calculations, right? So you really have to understand how to use line position locations of numbers as connections to everything in longitude, latitude, how to use your set locations to a friendship of a structure line in division line center to a imagination to calculation of phenomenon that opens all levels of channel operation. In your division line setting, the highest formation location that you can reach in any calculation system is operation triangulation. All right. So You're in 39 line settings into 50 communication setting rotations. All levels. 2 seconds on the set location. Change position, direct line setting. Bring you guys back. You're back in line setting rotations. All right, so close your portals, close your windows, setting line interference. All right, so in symbolism, coming into your communications, how to really see your line setting in all levels of perception locations, right? So you got communication setting here, right? That's you, right? Now, understanding what you're seeing is all line position, right? Your size graph is your line position. Okay, that's your connections, right? So anything in the center communication is line communications of your pie, right? Size graph here, size graph here. Okay. That's the width. That's longitude and latitude line. Center comes into northwest, south, and east locations, right? So try to use the coordinate line setting. Use the pattern communication, comes into all levels, splits its division line setting, opens all communication of a portal communication, a plasma line channel, and you go through it right through the setting, right? So, try to understand how to use portal communication settings because you go through it every single day, especially when you go through reading cycles, reader center interference, and visit locations. Truly understand that you're in calculation to anybody in communication, you close the portals of you and close the portals of them. You can't have portals open up in communication setting. I'm not talking about pushing a button. I'm actually telling you, you need to see these things. If you see these things and you actually see the portal closed, it disappears, you're good to go. But if you can't understand the vibration line stream, you have to work on all communication settings in your position to your thoughts and locations. Your imagination is everything through volume, a vast calculation to velocity, sets an acceleration tone setting into Mach interference. Mach interference comes into your interface line position and how you use the geometric pattern of your operation stream in calculations to your division line stream. Okay? When you go to higher levels, you come into vector, you come into sectors. Okay? Your applied division location is just in a foundation line stream here. You're just in the application line center rotation interference of the ground locations of operation. Getting you in position locations, you have to really understand how to use all tracker systems and 114 lines of communication. That's all levels of operation setting to sun and to moon calculation setting. All right. All right. How does everybody feel? Equation keeps popping up in sight. Well, that's it. It's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah, it is amazing when you understand a little bit more what you're doing through maps of equation, right? Map sequencing, map patterns, map calculation, stream locations, all levels of you, how to use your thoughts and where are your thoughts going every single day you get up in the morning. Where are they going? You have to know where they're going. What is your intention? I keep saying that. What is your intention? What is your will? What is your force? You need will and you need force. And then you got the connections to what you created through this location. Like sending in a package. You have intent. You're sending something out and you're getting something back. You receive it. It's the same thing. Now, the visual line setting changes its position directions, right? So that's the important you understand. Transmitting and receiving information is extremely important, but more important is what you are receiving inside. All right? Because you can receive something different address, different name, different calculation, different number, different frame, different car, different intelligence. This is what you have to be aware of every single time you go through transmitting and receiving information. That's it. So you guys did extremely well. We got a lot in positions to the second line channels, time frame, position location, and paradox, getting you guys out of line center location of 7 days a week, getting you guys into synchronous locations, time frames, time one, and center interference. Time one position location is a ground line setting. Get you guys in a zero gravity location into all number sequence patterns, opens all communications to how you see yourself through symbolism and calculation, high center interference, hieroglyphic locations, all channel operation stream location of pyramids, the elixir, cosmic flame, and the serpent fire. Okay, there's all communication setting that you have to understand all levels of you inside position to your flux capacitor and channel upper stream locations to your 114 host division. Okay. All right, setting communication settings, highline setting rotations. Make sure you close your portals in setting locations. 1121 line setting. Okay, line position location atmospheres into metric communication setting interference. So understanding the awareness line setting to its memory locations. You could change the time frame line setting. Now it's 1121, but the atmosphere location is its memory line setting. So it's all position location to its morning that changes location in the afternoon to communication setting to all line setting. Because you got 12 division locations of light and you got 12 division locations of dark. That's a 24 signal line setting in rotation to its position to its sonar calculation. You have to understand the importance of what it is when you come into ringing ears. I keep saying that to everybody. What is a ringing ear, right? I think we're going to get more into that line connections so you really understand what you are receiving through its energy line setting. Okay? All right. Q&A is coming up. Adios.